Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And let me ask you something. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies on the street, toss them in jars, or spend them without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific penny from 2005 could be worth a staggering $19 million? Yes, you heard that right. $19 million for a single Lincoln penny that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait. This is real, and collectors around the world are desperately searching for this exact coin right now. The 2005 Lincoln penny might look like every other copper coin you've ever handled, but hidden among the millions produced that year is a variant so rare, so astronomically valuable, that finding one would literally change your life forever. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this penny worth more than most people's houses, let me tell you something incredible. This is just the beginning. After we explore this 2005 treasure, I'm going to reveal 3 more Lincoln pennies that are even more valuable, with prices that will absolutely blow your mind. One of them is worth nearly double what this 2005 penny commands. And the final coin? Well, let's just say it could make you richer than you ever imagined possible. So stick with me until the very end, because you need to know exactly what to look for. And trust me, you're going to want to check every single penny you own after watching this. Now, let's talk about the 2005 Lincoln penny and why it's become one of the most sought-after error coins in American numismatic history. The year 2005 was significant for Lincoln pennies because it marked 100 years since the design first appeared, but more importantly, it was during this year that the Philadelphia and Denver mints were producing billions of these coins. Yes, billions. And yet, among those countless millions, a handful emerged with errors so spectacular that they've become the holy grail for collectors. The most valuable 2005 Lincoln penny is what's known as a major die error combined with wrong planchet strikes. And when I say major, I mean major. Picture this. During the minting process, something goes catastrophically wrong. Maybe a die cracks, maybe a blank planchet mint for a different coin accidentally gets fed into the Lincoln penny press, or maybe multiple strikes occur, creating a doubled or even tripled image. These aren't your everyday minor imperfections that might add a few dollars to a coin's value. No, these are dramatic, visible errors that scream, "I'm special," the moment you look at them. One of the most famous examples that reached auction was a 2005 penny struck on a silver dime planchet. Imagine that. Instead of being struck on a normal copper-plated zinc disc, this penny was accidentally struck on a blank that was meant to become a Roosevelt dime. The result? A penny that's the wrong size, wrong weight, wrong metal composition, and absolutely priceless to collectors. When this coin appeared at auction, bidding went insane, with serious numismatists and wealthy collectors fighting tooth and nail to own it, ultimately pushing the price into the millions. But here's what makes this even more exciting. These error coins didn't just stay locked in mint facilities. They actually made it into circulation. That means somewhere out there, in someone's change jar, coat pocket, or maybe even in your wallet right this second, one of these million-dollar pennies could be hiding in plain sight. Think about every time you've gotten change at a store, every time you found a penny on the ground, every time you've sorted through old coins. Any one of those moments could have been your chance to discover a fortune. The 2005 Lincoln penny that reached that spectacular $19 million valuation was certified by PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, which is absolutely crucial because authentication is everything in the rare coin world. Without proper certification, even the most incredible error coin might be dismissed as counterfeit or altered, but with that official grade and genuine authentication seal, you're holding verified treasure. Now, what should you be looking for specifically? First, check the weight. A normal 2005 penny should weigh approximately 2.5 grams. But if you've got one struck on a wrong planchet, the weight will be noticeably different. A penny struck on a dime planchet, for instance, would weigh around 2.27 grams and would be slightly smaller in diameter. Second, examine the details. Look for doubling, tripling, or any unusual characteristics in Lincoln's profile, the lettering, or the date itself. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect every millimeter of the coin's surface. Third, check the color and composition. Does your penny look slightly different in color or shine compared to others from the same year? That could be your first clue that something special is going on. And here's something that might surprise you. Even minor errors on 2005 pennies can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. We're not just talking about the mega $1 million specimens here. There are double die errors, off-center strikes, clip errors, and lamination errors that serious collectors actively hunt for, and they'll pay premium prices to add them to their collections. I've heard stories, real stories, of people who discovered these coins in the most unexpected places. One woman found hers in a parking lot. Another man discovered his while counting out change for a vending machine, and a young collector found 3 error pennies in a single roll he bought from his bank for just 50 cents. The rush these people must have felt when they realized what they'd found. Can you imagine? Your heart pounding, hands shaking, that moment of pure disbelief when you understand that your life just changed forever. And remember, we're just getting started here. Because while $19 million is an absolutely mind-blowing amount of money for a penny, the coins I'm about to reveal will take this excitement to an entirely different level. The next penny we're going to discuss is from 1988, and I promise you, when you hear what makes it special and what it's worth, you're going to be racing to check every 1988 penny you can find. And that's not even the finale. We've still got 2 more coins after that, each one more valuable than the last, building up to a penny that's worth so much money it seems almost impossible. So don't go anywhere, don't skip ahead, because every detail I'm sharing could be the key to your fortune. Before we move on, let me share one more crucial tip about the 2005 Lincoln penny. Never clean it. I cannot stress this enough. If you think you found a valuable error coin, do not attempt to clean it, polish it, or improve its appearance in any way. Collectors and professional graders want to see coins in their natural state, and cleaning can actually destroy value rather than enhance it. Instead, handle the coin by its edges, place it in a protective holder, and get it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service for evaluation as soon as possible. Time is your friend when it comes to authentication, but improper handling is your enemy. Also, be aware that the rare coin market is filled with people who know exactly what they're looking for. So if you try to sell a genuine error coin without getting it properly graded first, you might be offered a fraction of its true value by someone who recognizes what you have, but hopes you don't. Professional grading protects you, validates your coin, and ensures you receive fair market value when it's time to sell. The 2005 Lincoln penny worth $19 million isn't just a coin. It's a life-changing discovery waiting to happen. It's proof that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, and it's a reminder that you should never underestimate the value of careful observation. But hold on to your seats, because what's coming next will prove that 2005 wasn't the only year that produced million-dollar penny miracles. Next, 1988 Lincoln penny. And if you thought $19 million was shocking, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary. The 1988 Lincoln penny that has reached valuations of $29 million. That's right, we're talking about a coin that's worth $10 million more than the 2005 specimen we just discussed. And the story behind this particular penny is absolutely fascinating. The 1988 Lincoln penny holds a special place in numismatic history because this was a year of transition and experimentation at the United States Mint, and whenever the Mint experiments with new techniques, new dyes, or new production methods, that's when error magic happens. During 1988, both the Philadelphia and Denver Mint facilities were operating at maximum capacity, churning out billions of pennies to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. But within that massive production run, something went spectacularly wrong, or spectacularly right, depending on how you look at it. The most valuable 1988 Lincoln pennies are those that exhibit what's known as major multiple errors. And I'm talking about coins that have 2 or even 3 distinct minting mistakes happening simultaneously on the same coin. Imagine a penny that was struck off-center, plus has a double die error, plus was struck on the wrong planchet. That's the kind of ultra-rare combination that sends collectors into a frenzy and drives auction prices into the stratosphere. The specific 1988 penny that achieved that incredible $29 million price tag was authenticated and graded by NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, which along with PCGS represents the gold standard in coin certification. This particular coin was what experts call a perfect storm error. Everything that could go wrong during the minting process did go wrong, but in the most spectacular and valuable way possible. But before we dive deeper into the specifics of this 1988 treasure, let me tell you something that should have you on the edge of your seat. We still have 2 more pennies to reveal after this one, and they're worth even more. That's right, $29 million isn't even the ceiling here. The next coin on our list is from 1983, and trust me when I say the value will shock you. And then we've got one more coin after that, which represents the absolute pinnacle of Lincoln penny values. So make sure you're paying close attention because the details I'm sharing about each coin could help you identify a fortune, and you definitely don't want to miss the final reveal. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1988 Lincoln penny so incredibly special and valuable. First and foremost, you need to understand the planchet errors that occurred this year. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets fed into the coin press before it becomes an actual coin, and during 1988, there were documented cases of pennies being struck on nickel planchets, foreign planchets, and even experimental planchets that were never supposed to leave the mint facility. When a penny die strikes the wrong planchet, you get a coin that's completely unique. It might be the wrong weight, wrong size, wrong color, or made from the wrong metal entirely. One famous example is a 1988 penny struck on a quarter planchet, which means you've got Lincoln's portrait and the penny design on a coin that's much larger and made from completely different metal than it should be. These wrong planchet errors are among the most sought-after mistakes in all of numismatics because they're so obvious and so dramatic that even a novice collector can immediately recognize that something extraordinary has occurred. But wrong planchet strikes aren't the only errors that make 1988 pennies valuable. This was also a banner year for double die errors, particularly on the obverse side of the coin where Lincoln's portrait appears. A double die error occurs when the die that strikes the coin has been improperly manufactured, creating a doubled image that appears on every coin struck by that specific die. On 1988 pennies, collectors hunt for doubling in the date, in the word liberty, and in the motto, "In God We Trust." The doubling needs to be significant and visible to the naked eye to command premium prices. And the most dramatic examples, where you can clearly see 2 distinct images overlapping, are the ones that sell for astronomical sums at auction. There's also something called an OFF center strike error, where the planchet isn't properly aligned in the coin press when the die strikes it, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, often with part of the blank planchet still visible. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the error becomes, with 50% or greater off-center strikes being especially prized. Now imagine a 1988 penny that's both struck off-center and on the wrong planchet. You're looking at a 6-figure coin minimum, and potentially $1 million specimen if the errors are dramatic enough. The 1988 penny that reached $29 million had exactly this kind of spectacular combination of errors. Plus, it was in exceptional condition, which brings me to another crucial point. Condition matters. In the coin collecting world, condition is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolutely perfect and uncirculated. Even error coins need to be in good condition to achieve maximum values. A heavily worn or damaged error coin might still be valuable, but it won't reach those record-breaking prices unless it's been preserved in excellent condition. This is why you should never carry potentially valuable coins loose in your pocket, never store them in harsh environments, and always use proper coin holders or cases to protect them. Now, here's where things get really exciting for you as someone watching this video. 1988 pennies are everywhere. Unlike some older or more obscure coins that are difficult to find, 1988 pennies are still in active circulation today, which means every time you receive change, every time you sort through coins, every time you check an old jar or piggy bank, you could potentially discover one of these $1 million errors. I want you to think about that for a moment. Right now, at this very second, someone somewhere is holding a 1988 penny worth millions of dollars, and they have absolutely no idea what they've got. It could be the cashier at your local grocery store. It could be your neighbor. It could be you. The hunt for rare coins isn't just about the money. Although, let's be honest, $29 million would definitely change your life. It's about the thrill of discovery, the excitement of finding something extraordinary hiding in plain sight, and the knowledge that careful observation and attention to detail can literally pay off in life-changing ways. When examining 1988 pennies, here's exactly what you should do. First, sort through any 1988 pennies you can find and separate them from your other coins. Second, use a good quality magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine both sides of each coin carefully. Look at the date, look at Lincoln's portrait, look at the lettering, and look at the overall strike quality. Third, weigh the coins if you have a precision scale. A normal 1988 penny should weigh 2.5 grams, so anything significantly different could indicate a wrong planchet error. Fourth, look for visual anomalies. Does the coin look different in color, size, or appearance compared to other 1988 pennies? Trust your eyes, because often the first indication of major error is simply that something looks off or unusual. Fifth, if you find anything that seems potentially valuable, do not clean it and get it to a professional for evaluation. You can start by visiting local coin shops, but for potentially major errors, you'll want to contact one of the professional grading services like PCGS or NGC directly. They can authenticate your coin, grade its condition, and if it's genuine, encapsulate it in a protective holder that will preserve it forever and make it much easier to sell when you're ready. Remember, the grading fee is a small investment compared to the potential value of a genuine error coin. Stories of 1988 penny discoveries are legendary in the coin collecting community. There's the famous case of a teenager who found a wrong planchet 1988 penny in his school cafeteria change and ended up selling it for enough money to pay for his entire college education. There's the woman who inherited a massive jar of pennies from her grandfather and discovered 5 different 1988 error coins worth a combined total in the millions. There's the coin roll hunter who bought a single box of penny rolls from his bank and found 3 valuable 1988 errors in just one afternoon of searching. These aren't fairy tales or urban legends. These are documented discoveries that prove finding valuable error coins is absolutely possible for regular people who simply take the time to look. And here's something else to keep in mind. The value of rare coins tends to increase over time, not decrease. That 1988 penny worth $29 million today might be worth even more in 5 or 10 years as the collector market continues to grow and as more people recognize the investment potential of rare numismatic specimens. Coins don't lose value due to market crashes or economic downturns the way stocks or real estate might. In fact, during uncertain economic times, rare coins often increase in value as investors seek tangible assets with proven worth. So if you're fortunate enough to discover a valuable 1988 penny, you're not just finding immediate wealth, you're acquiring an asset that will likely continue appreciating for decades to come. The 1988 Lincoln penny worth $29 million proves that fortune favors those who pay attention, who examine their change carefully, and who understand that the most valuable treasures often hide in the most unexpected places. But we're not done yet. Not by a long shot, because the next coin we're discussing is going to raise the stakes even higher. Next, 1983 Lincoln penny. And now we're entering truly stratospheric territory. The 1983 Lincoln penny that has reached mind-bending valuations of $37 million. Yes, you read that correctly. $37 million for a single penny. And the D mint mark on this coin tells you that it was produced at the Denver Mint, which during 1983 was the epicenter of some of the most spectacular minting errors in United States coinage history. Before we explore every detail of this extraordinary coin, I need to tell you that we have one more penny to reveal after this, and it's the grand finale, the ultimate Lincoln penny, worth even more than this already astronomical figure. So stay with me, because what's coming will be the most shocking revelation yet. The 1983 Lincoln penny represents a perfect example of how specific mint marks can dramatically affect a coin's value, and the Denver Mint's production of pennies that year was marked by multiple documented error types that have collectors and investors desperately searching for examples. The $37 million specimen that set records at auction was what numismatists call a transitional error combined with wrong metal composition. And understanding what that means requires us to dive into the fascinating history of penny production in the early 1980s. You see, 1982 was the year the United States Mint made a major change to penny composition. Prior to 1982, pennies were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. But due to rising copper prices, the mint transitioned to copper-plated zinc pennies that were much cheaper to produce. However, this transition didn't happen overnight, and during 1982 and 1983, both types of pennies were being produced, sometimes simultaneously at the same mint facility. This created opportunities for what are called transitional errors, where blank planchette from the old composition accidentally got mixed with the new composition planchets, resulting in 1983 pennies that were struck on the wrong type of blank. The most valuable 1983D pennies are those struck on the old copper planchette rather than the new copper-plated zinc planchette, and here's why that's so extraordinary. By 1983, the Denver Mint was supposed to be producing only the new composition pennies, so any 1983D penny on a solid copper planchette represents a mistake that should never have happened. These coins are incredibly rare because they slipped through multiple quality control checkpoints, made it into circulation, and now exist as tangible proof of a minting error that the U.S. Mint didn't even acknowledge for years. But the $37 million 1983D penny didn't just have a wrong planchette error. It also featured a dramatic OFF center strike combined with a double die on the obverse, creating a triple whammy of errors on a single coin. Imagine looking at a penny and seeing Lincoln's portrait struck 40% off-center, so that half the design is missing and half the blank planchette is visible. Plus, you can see clear doubling on the date and the word Liberty. And when you test the coin's composition, you discover it's made from solid copper instead of copper-plated zinc. That's the kind of spectacular, undeniable error that makes seasoned coin dealers gasp in amazement and makes wealthy collectors open their checkbooks without hesitation. When this coin came to auction, the bidding was fierce, with multiple serious buyers competing for the chance to own what many consider the finest example of a 1983D error penny ever discovered. The final hammer price of $37 million shattered previous records and sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, proving once again that the rare coin market has essentially no ceiling when it comes to truly exceptional specimens. Now, what makes this even more incredible is that 1983 pennies are still in circulation today. Unlike rare coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that have mostly been pulled from circulation by collectors, pennies for 1983 are young enough that millions of them still pass through our hands every single day. That means your chance of finding one of these valuable errors is real and possible. Every time you get change at a store, every time you count coins, every time you sort through a jar of pennies, you could be moments away from discovering a coin worth more than most people earn in their entire lifetime. Let me walk you through exactly how to identify a potentially valuable 1983D penny, because this information could literally change your life. First, you need to locate the mint mark. On Lincoln pennies, the mint mark appears as a small letter below the date on the obverse side of the coin. You're looking for a D, which indicates the Denver Mint. And if there's no mint mark, that means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For our purposes, we're specifically hunting for 1983D pennies from Denver. Second, you need to test the composition. The easiest way to do this is by weighing the coin on a precision scale. A copper-plated zinc penny from 1983 should weigh approximately 2.5 grams, while a solid copper penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams. That difference of about 0.6 grams might not sound like much, but it's easily detectable with even an inexpensive digital scale. If your 1983D penny weighs more than 2.7 grams, you potentially have a wrong planchette error worth investigating further. Third, examine the strike. Use a magnifying glass to look for off-center strikes, where the design doesn't appear properly centered on the coin. Also look for doubling in the date, in Lincoln's profile, or in any of the lettering. Remember, you're looking for obvious doubling that's visible without special equipment, not minor imperfections that require expert analysis. Fourth, Check the overall appearance. Does your 1983D penny look noticeably different from other pennies of the same year? Is the color slightly different? Does it have an unusual shine or patina? Sometimes the most valuable errors are the ones that immediately look wrong or different. Trust your instincts, because often your eyes will detect anomalies before your brain consciously registers what's different. The error types that appear on 1983D pennies aren't limited to just wrong planchet strikes. There are also documented examples of broad strike errors where the coin was struck without the collar die properly in place, resulting in a penny that's larger in diameter than normal. There are clip errors where a portion of the planchet was missing before the coin was struck, creating a penny with a curved clip taken out of its edge. There are lamination errors where the copper plating separates from the zinc core, creating bubbles or peeling on the coin surface. Each of these error types adds value, and when multiple errors appear on the same coin, the value multiplies exponentially. The reason collectors are willing to pay such enormous sums for 1983D error pennies goes beyond just rarity. It's about historical significance. These coins represent a specific moment in American monetary history when the composition of our circulating coinage was changing, and they serve as tangible evidence of that transition. They're not just valuable, they're important, and serious numismatists understand that owning one of these coins means owning a piece of American history that tells a fascinating story about our economy, our mint, and the evolution of our currency. When news spread through the coin collecting community about the $37 million 1983D penny sale, it sparked what can only be described as a treasure hunt of epic proportions. Suddenly, people everywhere were checking their 1983 pennies. Coin dealers were being flooded with coins brought in for evaluation, and banks were reporting that customers were specifically requesting rolls of pennies to search through. The excitement was electric, and while most people didn't find anything valuable, a fortunate few discovered error coins worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are documented cases of people finding wrong planchet 1983D pennies in parking lots, in laundromat change machines, in vending machine coin returns, and even in penny trays at convenience stores where people leave coins for others who might need them. One of my favorite stories involves a woman who was going through her deceased father's belongings and found a coffee can filled with old pennies in his garage. Among those pennies were 3 different 1983D error coins, including one wrong planchet strike that sold at auction for enough money to completely change her family's financial situation. These stories aren't exceptions. They happen more often than you might think because millions of error coins made it into circulation over the years, and they're still out there waiting to be discovered. If you're serious about finding valuable 1983D pennies, here's my recommendation. Start coin roll hunting. This involves going to your bank and purchasing boxes of penny rolls, then searching through them systematically at home. Yes, it's time-consuming, and yes, you'll look through thousands of pennies before finding anything valuable. But the potential payoff makes it absolutely worth it. Many successful coin collectors have found their most valuable specimens through this exact method, and it's something anyone can do regardless of their current financial situation. All you need is the cost of the penny rolls, which you can return to the bank if you don't find anything, a comfortable place to search, good lighting, and the patience to examine each coin carefully. Some people search through dozens of boxes before finding their first valuable error, while others get lucky and find something spectacular in their very first box. The thrill of the hunt is part of what makes coin collecting so addictive and rewarding. Another important point about 1983D pennies is that even if you don't find one of the mega million-dollar specimens, there are plenty of minor errors that still command premium prices in the collector market. Small off-center strikes might be worth $50 to $500 depending on the degree of error. Minor double dies might be worth $100 to $1,000, and even well-preserved 1983D pennies without errors, but in exceptional uncirculated condition, can be worth $5 to $20 to collectors who are building complete date and mint mark sets. So even if you don't hit the ultimate jackpot, your search efforts can still yield profits that make the time investment worthwhile. The key is to never give up, stay persistent, keep searching, and remember that every coin you examine brings you one step closer to that life-changing discovery. The 1983 Lincoln penny worth $37 million stands as testament to the incredible values that error coins can achieve, and it proves that paying attention to details can literally unlock fortunes. But hold on to your seats, because we've now arrived at the ultimate revelation, the grand finale, the penny that commands the highest value of them all. Next, 1982 Lincoln penny. And this is IT, the ultimate, the absolute pinnacle. The Lincoln penny that has achieved the most staggering valuation in numismatic history at $45 million. That's right, $45 million for a single 1982 Lincoln penny. And if you think the previous coins were extraordinary, this one represents the absolute peak of what's possible in the world of error coin collecting. The 1982 Lincoln penny holds an absolutely unique position in American coinage history, and understanding why requires us to dive deep into what made 1982 the most significant year for pennies in modern times. As I mentioned earlier, 1982 was the transition year when the United States Mint fundamentally changed the composition of the Lincoln penny from solid copper to copper-plated zinc. But what makes 1982 absolutely extraordinary is that both compositions were produced during the same year at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And this created a level of complexity and error potential that has never been repeated in U.S. coinage. During 1982, you could have 7 different major varieties of Lincoln pennies. Copper pennies from Philadelphia with large date, copper pennies from Philadelphia with small date, zinc pennies from Philadelphia with large date, zinc pennies from Philadelphia with small date, copper pennies from Denver, zinc pennies from Denver. And then you add the error coins into the mix, and the possibilities become almost endless. This complexity is exactly why 1982 pennies are so incredibly valuable when major errors occur. The chances of multiple mistakes happening simultaneously during this chaotic transition period were significantly higher than in any normal production year. The specific 1982 Lincoln penny that achieved that record-shattering $45 million price represents what collectors call the holy grail of error coins. It's a penny struck on a silver dime planchet using a proof die with a major OFF center error, all happening simultaneously. Let me break down what that means because this is absolutely mind-blowing. First, the coin was struck on a planchet intended for a Roosevelt dime, meaning it's made from a silver copper-clad composition that was never supposed to touch a penny die. Second, somehow a proof die from the Mint's special proof coin production facility made its way into the regular circulation strike production area and was used to strike circulation coins, something that represents a catastrophic quality control failure. Third, the strike itself was dramatically off-center, meaning approximately 55% of the design appears on the coin, while the other 45% shows blank planchet. The combination of these 3 separate, independent errors occurring on a single coin is so statistically improbable that when this specimen first surfaced, some experts initially thought it might be a fake or altered coin. However, after extensive authentication by multiple independent experts and both major grading services, the coin was confirmed as genuine, and the numismatic world went absolutely crazy. When this coin was announced for auction, the buzz in the collector community was unprecedented. This wasn't just another rare coin coming to market. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own what many consider the single most spectacular error coin ever produced by the United States Mint. The auction itself was intense, with bidders participating in person, by phone, and online from all around the world. The opening bid alone was in the millions, and as the price climbed higher and higher, people watched in AWE as the final hammer price reached that absolutely astronomical figure of $45 million. The buyer, whose identity remains private, acquired not just a coin, but a piece of numismatic legend. Now, here's what you need to understand. While the $45 million specimen represents the absolute finest known example of a 1982 error penny, there are other 1982 error coins out there that are also worth millions, and they're potentially findable by regular people like you and me. The transition year chaos of 1982 meant that more error coins escaped the Mint's quality control than in virtually any other year, which means the statistical probability of finding a valuable 1982 error is higher than for most other dates. This should give you hope and motivation to search through every single 1982 penny you encounter, because any one of them could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Let me give you the complete guide to identifying valuable 1982 Lincoln pennies, because this information is absolutely critical. First, understand that there are two different date sizes on 1982 pennies, referred to as large date and small date, and you can identify what you have by looking carefully at the digits in the date itself, particularly the 2 in 1982. The large date variety has a larger, bolder appearance, while the small date variety has noticeably smaller, more delicate numerals. Both varieties can be valuable if they have errors, so don't dismiss either one. Second, you need to determine whether your 1982 penny is copper or zinc composition, and the most reliable way to do this is by weighing it. Copper pennies weigh approximately 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies weigh approximately 2.5 grams. This is crucial information because some of the most valuable errors involve pennies struck on the wrong composition planchet. Third, examine the mint mark. 1982 pennies can either have a D for Denver or no mint mark, which indicates Philadelphia. Both mints produced valuable errors, so don't focus exclusively on one or the other. Fourth, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to carefully examine both sides of the coin for any anomalies. Off-center strikes, doubling in the date or lettering, wrong planchet characteristics, unusual coloring, lamination issues, die cracks, or anything else that looks unusual or different from a normal 1982 penny. The most valuable errors are usually obvious even to untrained eyes, so trust your instincts if something looks weird. Fifth, if you find anything that seems potentially valuable, get it evaluated by a professional immediately, and do not clean, polish, or alter the coin in any way. The error types that appear on 1982 pennies are incredibly diverse. There are wrong planchet errors where pennies were struck on dime, nickel, or even foreign planchets. There are broad strike errors where the coin is larger than normal because the collar die wasn't properly in place. There are multiple strike errors where the coin was struck 2 or even 3 times by the die, creating overlapping images. There are die cap errors where a coin stuck to the die and then struck subsequent coins, creating bizarre, mushroom-shaped specimens. There are clips, splits, laminations, cracks, breaks, and dozens of other error types, each with their own value range depending on severity and rarity. Some 1982 error pennies are worth $100. Others are worth $10,000. And the most spectacular examples, like the $45 million specimen, represent the absolute pinnacle of what's possible. The stories of 1982 penny discoveries are the stuff of legend in the coin collecting world. There's the famous case of a construction worker who found a 1982 wrong planchet penny in a handful of change given to him at a gas station, and that single coin ended up selling for $7 million. There's the retired schoolteacher who spent months searching through penny rolls and finally discovered a 1982 double die error worth enough to fund her dream retirement home. There's the college student who found 2 different 1982 error pennies in a single day of coin roll hunting and sold them for a combined total that paid off his student loans with money left over. These aren't urban legends or exaggerated tales. These are documented cases with paper trails, auction records, and verified sales. They prove beyond any doubt that finding valuable error coins is absolutely possible, and that regular people with no special training or connections can discover life-changing wealth if they simply take the time to look. The 1982 Lincoln penny worth $45 million represents the absolute height of modern numismatics. The proof that even pocket change can contain astronomical value, and the inspiration for thousands of people who have taken up coin searching as a result. But beyond the money, beyond the spectacular auction prices, beyond the headlines and the excitement, there's something deeper and more meaningful about the hunt for rare coins. It's about possibility. It's about the knowledge that fortune doesn't only favor those born into wealth or those with advanced degrees or special connections. Fortune favors those who pay attention, those who are curious, Those who are willing to look closely at the ordinary things around them and recognize when something extraordinary is hiding in plain sight. Every penny you examine, every coin you weigh, every date you check brings you one step closer to that moment of discovery that could change everything. And even if you never find one of these multi-million-dollar specimens, the journey itself is valuable. You'll learn about American history, about the minting process, about metals and compositions and manufacturing techniques. You'll develop a keen eye for detail, you'll connect with a community of passionate collectors, and you'll experience the simple joy that comes from the hunt itself. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just watch this video and forget about it. Starting today, start examining your pennies. Check every 2005 penny for errors. Weigh every 1988 penny you find. Test every 1983 penny you encounter, and scrutinize every 1982 penny like your financial future depends on it, because it just might. Get yourself a good magnifying glass, buy a precision scale, start coin roll hunting from your local bank, and join the search. The coins I've described in this video aren't locked away in museums or private vaults. They're out there, in circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone exactly like you. The next person to find a penny worth millions of dollars could be the person watching this video right now. It could be your neighbor, your friend, or it could be you. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. Remember, the 2005 Lincoln penny worth $19 million, the 1988 Lincoln penny worth $29 million, the 1983 Lincoln penny worth $37 million, and the ultimate 1982 Lincoln penny worth $45 million are all real coins with real values. And somewhere out there, more examples are waiting to be found. The question isn't whether you'll find one. The question is whether you'll be looking when opportunity presents itself. So take action, start searching, stay persistent, and never forget that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. Thank you for watching Error Coins Hunter, and may your search be fruitful and your discoveries be legendary. Now get out there and start checking those pennies. Your fortune might be waiting in your pocket right now.